games in Asia. We're showing on the screen a little bit of stats from the last game, that World Elite Academy taking on Young Glory that ended in a 1-1 split, but we are up for this next game. It's sure to be a good one. It's going to be Starhorn Royal Club taking on Edward Gaming for a matchup that's sure to be electric and definitely has a lot riding on it.
Yeah, I'm actually going to kick the stream over to the standings real quick so you guys can get a look at them. These are the updated standings. I updated them in between the games, so you see Young Glory, World Elite Academy. Unfortunately, we don't know who the worst team in LPL is, as they're tied with 1 point each. That said, this game is important, like Pyra said, due to the fact that Edward Gaming, Starhorn Royal Club are tied right now. So winner of this game will not only decide who's definitively in 3rd place, but could also potentially knock World Elite out of 2nd place.
Edward Gaming, though, coming off of a bit stronger performances. Starhorn really hasn't had the hardest schedule this split so far. This will be a true test for them, and I know a lot of people called him a dark horse, but for us, as we were mentioning on the show during the break, Edward Gaming, whole nother animal.
They've really kind of come into their own, and we talked about this also with kind of the last split of World Elite Academy and Young Glory, how their actual matches so far, like their season, they faced really tough teams. Like they've already faced OMG, they faced EDG, and now they're actually coming into the easier half of their middle of the season. Whereas I feel like Starhorn Royal Club is exactly the opposite. They faced pretty much the easy teams right out of the gate. They finally faced OMG yesterday. They got 2-0'd by OMG, and now they face kind of the 2nd place team, or I guess they were 1st place from last split. They won the playoffs, EDG today. So I feel like Starhorn Royal Club may have had their standings boosted a little bit just because of their schedule so far.
Yeah, and they were pretty hyped coming into this, too. A lot of that riding on the backs of their 2 Korean players brought over. We talked a lot about Insect. Much has been made of this transition and how it has signaled kind of a bit of change in jungling strategy. Maybe not quite panned out. He really has been hit or miss. And EDG, on the other hand, you can look at the stats on their page right now if you're willing to shift that one over. We've got 75% win rate. I think that's in the split so far. They've really done quite well for themselves, and it seems like a lot of their strategies are really coming together. They've started to change a lot. Look at Unstoppable in the mid lane. He's really been more free lately, and I think this unrestricted strategy has been working out for them.
They've also had the most consistent roster, which they're going to go through the lineup right now as we start, and it is going to be Koro 1 in that top lane for EDG. Koro is recognized. He doesn't win his lane. He's not like a good lane top laner. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's a fair thing to say.
But he's, I know, I like, there's too many words of top in that sentence. He's really good at zone control, though. Like, when he gets into a team fight, he team fights really well, and he creates a perfect zone for Name to kind of come forward and do his thing. In the jungle, the big story, though, is Clear Love. You hear the cheering for Clear Love. Clear Love, obviously, former World Elite member. World Elite is like the
He's
most
the
famous.
Clear Love.
Exactly. He's the
crowd.
guy. We talked about how Messiah really kind of shaped his jungle style and how he's really kind of evolved past that. He's been much more gank happy, found a lot of success on Jarvan so far. Expect to see that continue. Does have the Rengar in there, so we may see a contested pick between Rengar, between Clear Love and Sek here. In the mid lane, the little U, Unstoppable, or U as he is called. The fact that he's really been branching out from his Syndra, back to back.
That's the when you're playing slots, that's the numbers you want to see. We'll see if he does it again, though. He has been playing more assassins lately. You're right, and this is I think really contributing a lot to EDG's success.
The fact that he's gotten to, or the team has evolved so far that you can now get off of such a restricted champion like Ziggs and start playing that Syndra, start playing Yasuo, those assassin champions, is fantastic. Now we have, excuse me, I'm trying to drink juice. It's breakfast time. Name.
Yeah, like those commercials, right?
I know, right? It just makes me so thirsty every time I see it. Name, considered perhaps the best AD carry in the world. I know a lot of people will come and say, you know, it's deft, it's amped, but I definitely think Name is a contender in there. He is a fantastic player. His Lucian build is starting to really pick up steam, and his partner in crime here is going to be FCZF.
Sometimes the unsung hero of this Edward Gaming squad, but all coming together, they have been absolutely fantastic this split. And if they 2-0 here, they have a real shot at 2nd place in this entire standings. This is a very tough LPL division right now. And, well, their opponent's not going to be complete pushovers, though. Of course, it's going to be Starhorn Royal Club, and we're going to be getting them on a screen in just a minute. But I think this matchup definitely is going to be a tougher test for Starhorn, as they have had a much easier schedule up until now.
Definitely. And it's really, again, a lot of people came in and they said, you know, Starhorn Royal Club is going to be the dark horse. They're going to upset people. We're going to put them third place in the seat to go to Worlds. And I actually think that World Elite kind of has a better shot at going to Worlds. I feel like the top 3 Chinese teams are going to be OMG, EDG, World Elite. You can switch EDG, OMG, although OMG's looking really good with Cool kind of returning to form as of recent like he did yesterday. But we should start with the bottom lane. So it should be 0.
And they sync it up. You can even hear the Chinese casters talking about it right at that. And he has been playing a fair amount of LeBlanc, as we see, too. And this is something that is very popular in China. Actually, I believe it was popularized on, was it on World Elite? I can't remember exactly who made that one famous.
I used to know until you said it, and now I'm completely blanking.
We're brain drained. It's that time of the day, I suppose. But
it was
let's
Alan.
go over to there.
Alan
was okay.
is the OG
Excuse me.
of the
Loveland,
LeBlanc support.
Alan, drug. Yes. Yeah. There we go. So, and then we have Uzi, who also a very famous AD carry and one that does stand out in a line of very good AD carries as well.
Definitely Uzi has always been up there mechanically. I feel like his decision-making is really questionable, but you have to recognize that Uzi is really young. He's actually considered like a veteran player because he's been in the scene so long, but he got involved in the scene when he was like 13, 14 years old. So this is a young guy. In the mid lane, it's going to be Korn, and I feel like Korn was the solo queue pickup that Starhorn Royal Club made, and I feel like it's been really hit or miss on his success.
Yeah, I think they're still trying to figure out exactly how he fits in, but he's definitely a very confident individual player, and it's shown up in a lot of his numbers, especially in his CS. But over in the jungle, it is, of course, Insec. We've been seeing him rock Lee Sin and Rengar, popularizing that a little bit, especially the Rengar over here. But he's definitely had mixed levels of success, and, well, hard to say exactly why that's happening.
I feel like a part of it is communication. Their top lane, of course, is going to be Cola, known for his Jax play, Shyvana, Gragas as well. I feel like the biggest issue with Starhorn Royal Club is looking at them as like a unit. I feel like it's Insec and Zero, and kind of they're one team, and then the rest of Starhorn Royal Club is like another team. Like you think of how many times when Insec gets his Lee Sin and he manages to ult someone into like a Thresh hook or a waiting Nami bubble. They get a lot of solo queue kills off on their own, and it goes back to that communication, the fact that they're both speaking Korean. There is a Chinese coach in the house with them trying to teach Insec and Zero Mandarin. I believe that Zero and Uzi are still speaking in English in the bottom lane.
Now, that's a lot of work to do, learning an extra language on top of trying to compete at a high level. I mean, you see this over in NA with the LMQ members exclusively trying to practice in English, and that's quite a lot of dedication, but it's everyone in it together, whereas you might get this feeling of isolation. But here we are into picks and bans, immediately taken away Yasuo and Kale. Thresh also banned out on the side of EDG, and Braum too. Man, they're going quick.
They have a lot of high contested picks. Both of these teams play really on meta right now. Yasuo, Kale, of course, huge champions right now in the meta. We've seen Korn's Yasuo come out pretty big. Yu has said that he likes to play the assassin-style champion, so definitely in his repertoire, although I'm trying to think if I've seen him pull it out yet.
Yeah, not lately, but it's definitely been something that's sort of a back pocket for him. Cassid, once again, taken away, completely banned out this series so far, and of course LeBlanc, also that last pick on EDG. And Koro, going to be locking in Lulu almost without a second thought. What do you think Starhorn's going to counter with here?
The Lee Sin is open. I definitely think it's going to be a Lee Sin pickup.
Yeah, Insec definitely enjoying that champion, although, once again, not the most successful in it lately. But they're going to lock in Zero's Nami first, and it looks like they might go for Cola having Gragas.
I actually like this better because I feel like with the Lulu first pick, Lee Sin isn't the best pick, obviously, because if he goes in there and he tries to insect someone back, no pun intended, Lulu just wild growths and completely shuts that down, so she is a very good counter to Insect, and then if someone gets split up, excuse me, to Lee Sin, wow, I just use them interchangeably. She's a good counter to a Lee Sin pick. I'm curious, though, if that's going to be Yu's Lulu that he's run consistently, or if it's going to be put up to Koro.
Yeah, I think it's a situational thing. That's the nice thing about taking Lulu first, is that there are so many ways that you can play her that it doesn't really give your opponents any guess to what you're playing. But we're going to see the 80 carries locked in as well. And, well, Nami might be hovering Vayne right now, but he's definitely going to be going for that Kog'Maw as it is locked in. Clearlove already got his jungle Jarvan. And on the other side, we see Insect going for the Kha'Zix pickup, while Uzi going to be on Lucio. I'm
really curious because this will determine if this is going to be a mid Lulu or top Lulu. Kind Kog'Maw has recently broken his 0% win rate in China. He's now won a few games. I believe Kids won on him. I think Wei Xiao has, although that was a really long game. I know Name has played him a few times, and it is going to be a mid-Lulu.
Yeah, if anybody can pull out wins with Kog'Maw, it's definitely going to be Name. And this is a scary bot lane to deal with. Do you expect a lane swap to come in given this composition?
Oh, well, that was kind of the narrative of these games. The fact that UZI and Name kind of have a reputation of being a little bit cocky players as far as their mechanical abilities. They really do like to force kind of the 2v2 because they want to, you know, stick to their guns, show up to each other and be like, I'm the better AD carry, I beat you straight up in the lane. That said, Kog'Maw would obviously much rather favor a lane swap because he wants to bypass his early game to get into his late game power. Lucian Nami, we've talked about how that combination, very popular in OG and is incredibly potent in the lane due to the fact that Lucian can get off all 3 ticks of Nami's E with his passive. So would I be surprised if they went toe-to-toe? No, because that fits with the players' personalities of saying, you know, I'm going to prove myself to be the better carry, although I do think it's better for the lane swap to come through.
Yeah, now how about this support pick on FCZF? And I believe I've seen him play Sona before. Definitely known for those more unconventional supports. And I know Sona, it's weird to say Sona unconventional. We just haven't seen her a ton. It's been sort of a situational pickup. And I think they might go standard lanes with this because that's definitely a very kitey composition.
I think with the Sona pickup, it kind of lends more credit to the fact that they are going to be doing a 2v2 lane. Not that Sona isn't completely fragile. If she gets caught by Nami, she's pretty much done for. But with the Kog'Maw Sona lane, it's actually very strong. The poke is really potent. So even though it's a very fragile lane, if it gets the push going on you, where you have to kind of focus about hitting the creeps and evening out the lane, and not necessarily so much about returning trades, the damage that can come out so quickly from Sona Kog'Maw from so far away is really scary.
Yeah, not to mention they always have the crescendo in the back pocket too, and that could be really crucial for these team fights, especially if they have a Jax teleport to the bot side. That is going to buy them a whole lot of time, and that's something else too. Once again, taking time bomb, and this is Koro. This is a pretty scary person to get that Jax as well.
Koro has definitely solidified himself as a very powerful mid laner. I feel that he's doing much better than Cole right now, is consistent across the board. Not necessarily known as like a hyper carry top lane player, but definitely has Jax in his repertoire. That said, just looking across the board at the compositions, there's some really unique things going on here. I am going to speak first about EDG's composition. What I really like about it is kind of their spread of power spikes across the game. Again, we talk about how Lulu Yu is very comfortable on these utility mid picks. She's a great mid-bridge champion. She's very strong early game, and then she transfers her power from mid-game to late game to the hyper carry Kog'Maw, as well as Jax there, so their late game potential is fantastic, and they have Lulu and Jarvan to carry the early mid-game. On the other side, though, Starhorn Royal Club, they have almost like a submarine comp with the Kha'Zix ultimate into a shockwave, but what I really like is actually Gragas ult with Kha'Zix. A lot of people don't really recognize the synergy here, but if you throw the cask, you're effectively using it as a disengage, and you split everyone up. That allows Kha'Zix, Insect there, to pick who he wants to isolate out because all the targets will be effectively scattered. So I really like the synergy between the Kha'Zix and the Gragas here.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely work out for them, especially later on in the game. The difficult part, though, is dealing with this tank line. Now, Koro, Jax is a champion, of course, that is more of a hyper carry than he is of a tank, but he's inadvertently tanky in the same way Kha'Zix used to be, in that he forces you to jump on him when he does go into the fights. Clearlove, definitely more of a typical tank, but they don't have a pure tank in any of that sense. They just have a lot of sustainability. Unstoppables Lulu is going to be in that range as well. What they really need to do on the side of Starhorn, it seems, is to get the Kha'Zix ball delivery rolling if they want to take these fights, but I expect those to come quite early.
I'm actually really excited. I think there's a good spread of different strategies across both teams, and it's really going to come down to strategical and lane dominance. And speaking of lane dominance, we do see the 2v2, so it is the egos going to bat. Name versus Uzi. Battle of the Titans.
This will be a great one. And that, by the way, I think should be our featured matchup, is this bot lane, particularly the battle of the AD carries. I'm really interested to see how FCZF, as well, keeps Uzi off of Name. So, standard lane starting up here, and the junglers are taking their normal buff pass as well. Where do you think we'll see them end up first?
I mean, obviously we talked about how their power is really in the bot lane. Although Starhorn Royal Club has kind of changed recently with the pickup of Insec. It's not so much on Uzi's shoulders to hard carry late game. Now he has a couple different damage threats across the team. Typically, though, it's focusing in the bot lane. That said, Name and FCZF, they're not going to find a true power spike until level 6. Kog'Maw gets very strong with the addition of his, artillery?
The living artillery, yeah. And they're going to have to watch it, though, because Luzi going very hard onto both, getting them extremely low, and there's a better sustain on Zero as Nami able to heal things up. This is going to be a weird game. There's Name and Anami. That's always a fun time.
And it's early, and it's a tongue twister. The nice thing, though, is both those lanes are actually sustained. So you have Sona sustain, you have Nami sustain.
But the level advantage, you can see that they've been forced a little bit off the farm right now, and this is Uzi actually making kind of a power play. I mean, Lucian does have that better early game, but they're going to try to keep the pressure on. You already see Clear Love hanging out towards the bot side. If Uzi and Zero push a little bit too far forward, he'll be jumping in for that. Insect, meanwhile, favoring on the mid instead, but this is an easier lane to gank on the side of Starhorn Roll Club. I'm sorry, on Edward Gaming, actually, as this is very pushed up.
Insect's about to run it to Clear Love. He is being so aggressive here. Can we talk about how he barely missed Jarvan? He doesn't have any wards, so he literally is completely guessing where Clear Love is.
There's like legit no wards in this game so far, just a couple being placed. Yeah, no, that was extremely lucky.
I don't know if this is him being a genius, and this is like the Korean Insect that, you know, we thought was going to come to China and like bring these new strategies and this new level of jungle understanding, or if he just got completely lucky. He literally just danced around Clear Love's position as has been unspotted.
Yeah, neither of them were even aware of their presence. I mean, that I don't think that's something you can really plan for other than just trying to know the jungle timings extremely well in a standard matchup. I suppose there's more evidence to where that's going to be exactly, but we'll have to see going forward how that pans out. And I didn't end up doing anything with it, as he could have tried to jump in for the dive, but dive's just a little bit difficult to pull off, even as low as Name is right now. FCZF able to heal him up right in time, and they're keeping back relevant with the farm too, so props to Name for not letting the early pushback really affect him too badly.
Uzi definitely needs to make moves. Ooh, but here's
There we
Insect
go,
looking for
there's
the
the
gank.
dive. Yeah, he turns it around though, and now Name chasing it out, but Uzi spacing away very nicely. Excellent use of the piercing light as well. Now Kola getting jumped on by Korra, but he turns it back around, and the early game, Kola should be able to match the burst of Korra pretty well right now, and he's going to get a nice jump onto him, but there is the counter-strike and the empowered strike. He's just running around, tossing his barrel and trying to disengage. He does get a stun off and actually forces a flash away. Nicely played by Korra 1. And no first blood given just yet. So this game, everybody trying to feel each other out.
5 minutes in, 2 flashes down, different sides of the map. Name's flash probably the most important there, so Insect not a complete waste of gank in that bot lane. Although I still feel like Uzi, time is ticking. This Lucian, he cannot afford to go even CS in a lane against a Kog'Maw because the outscale is going to be real.
Not to mention Koro, they have to address this, and now Insect is going up there to try and pick a gank. There's no way that Kola can completely 1v1 him. He has to bait this out. Now he sees Insect, Koro trying to back away. He's going to get the counter-strike off, but Kola's already very low. They have to be careful trying to execute this dive, and Insect going very hard onto Koro, knowing he has everything on cooldown. Can't quite finish the job, though, and he's just going to force him away from lane for the time being. This is a very dangerous position, just because they don't have a lot to deal with this Jax, and the counter ganks can get pretty real.
And unfortunately, Insect not finding a successful gank on that side of the map. Meanwhile, Clear Love invading his jungle, taking the wolves, going to trade it for that race he took earlier on. I feel like Insect has been much more present in his lane so far. I think that's his second gank. Clear Love has yet to really show up on the map there.
He's about to, though, heading down towards this bot side. Uzi and Zero know it. They have to be... I don't even think there was a ward there. They just have to be game sensing it. Now Koro taken pretty low in the top side, but Jarvan will back off. I believe he was spotted by Uzi and Zero, and they're continuing to trade out. Zoro, that'd be a really cool name for him as well. That time of the day.
Zoro Zero?
Zoro Zero? I believe that's somebody we know. Okay, so poke trading back and forth. This is going to be an incredibly pokey lane, but also a difficult one to gank, as we've seen. Burning flashes is definitely something you want to accomplish, but you want kills even more. So at this point, where do you go as Insect? Do you keep focusing on the top lane? Do you try to make your presence in mid? Lulu's also hard to link, but yeah, you got to go bottom and shut down Name.
And the fact that Kog'Maw, Sona is not a very mobile lane. Like, Sona literally has to charge up her slow for 20 minutes before she can proc that thing off. Kog'Maw is a butterfly with no wings. He's a little caterpillar, and he has no flash. So it makes sense that Insect will be focusing bottom. And then you think about the relative safety of Uzi and Zero on Name Lucian. The disengage, the relentless pursuit there, they're pretty much ungankable. They'd have to be baited to go really hard before they traded first blood in that lane.
Yeah, both these mid lanes, too, are also extremely safe. I mean, you talk about non-committal mid lanes. You've got Unstoppable on Lulu and Korn on Orianna. That is about as safe as it gets. And for team fighting. I mean, this is such a conservative play from both these teams, and I think they realize what's at stake here. So they're trying to feel each other out this first game. I would expect a lot earlier first blood in the next one, but we might see the first one here. And whoa, Koro gets a jump onto Insect, and he's going to burn his flash to try and escape, but will he be able to get away? Does not have anything but a leap strike, and he will use it, but Kola is following him in. He wants this kill. He's not getting followed by Insect, and that will be a free getaway for Koro, but he had to, well, not so free. He did have to burn a lot to do it.
It was really great foresight from Koro to understand that he could burn his flash where he needed it. At first when I said, I was like, ooh, that's a terrible flash burn because now he doesn't have anything to go over the wall. Lucky for him, he had the ward jump available for him, so great juggling of resources there to make that clean getaway.
Yeah, nicely done, and it does spend a lot more of Insect's time. Meanwhile, Clearlove was able to help pick off that blue buff steal, and they're looking to turn maybe for Dragon, maybe not quite yet. No, they don't want to do it well. Uziai's in the area. There's always that potential to steal. Now, Kola and Koro, I cannot even speak today, apparently, are dueling each other. Once again, they're just going to keep bruising, but it's only a matter of time before Koro starts to get a little bit too much for Kola to handle.
The biggest thing, though, was that blue buff steal. How necessary that is on Orianna, and the fact that it was the second rotation of the buffs is a big thing. Seems very small, especially in the context of the game. The gold lead didn't really spiral out of control, but Orianna's presence in lane versus Lulu right now, definitely not in her favor.
Yeah, FCZF now and Name are putting the pressure on this bot side, too, but they have to be careful not to push out too far. Insect, always that ever-present threat, and, well, he's waiting, biding his time for the time being, but there's no thresh mechanics or anything cool like that that they can pull out this time to pull the gank. They're going to have to wait till they get way in range. Insect going to leap over the sidewall, and here they go. The tidal wave engaging. It's going to catch Name on the side. FCCF's there. The teleport's coming in. They're going far onto this one. Sona's going to get an ult out for no effect, and that is first blood onto Name in favor of Uzi. Insect still on the chase with FCCF. There is no ultimate. Uzi going to get taken. He's going to take him down, excuse me, with nicely timed flash QW combo. And they are going to look to turn for Dragon here. Everybody on Starhorn Royal Club looking for this one. They're all down to the spot lane, so they're leaving Koro to free farm this up. But what a nice play.
Complete mechanical misstep by FTZF there. Field golded the Sona ultimate, hit nothing, was way too late. It should have come out very early for the disengage there. Nice tidal wave from from Zero, right?
We're doing it now.
They lost.
Okay.
They lost their lives, they lost their flash, they lost their pink ward, and they lost the dragon.
Yeah, no. You know, this is the one silver lining is that Koro was able to shove a wave up, but if he had been able to take a tower, that would have been really, really good. But now they're looking to answer with this Death Brush. Korn knows it's happening, and he's going to burn his flash very quickly. Oh, now he has no way to get out of the Cataclysm. Unstoppable's on the outside, but they don't know if they can finish this off. The ball's going to land. Korn is getting taken down. One more hit on the Glitter Lance will do it, or the Help Picks, rather, as Unstoppable and Clearlove buddy system up to take down Korn. And they should push on this tower as well.
And it's unfortunate, too, because Orianna has so many tools on her kit to face-check brushes without, utilizing her face there. Good use of resources from Clearlove right there to make sure that the flash was burned before the Cataclysm came down. So, free kill over there. Again, I really like the read from Insect, though, to go bottom, and I feel like if Insect wants to continuously snowball Uzi ahead, he's going to return bottom and prey on FCCF's lack of flash.
Yeah, and if this does become a constant trend in the game, we might see this strange scenario where Uzi gets way ahead of Name, however, and just abuses that mobility. However, the later the game goes on, Koro being completely unmolested is going to be a problem for Kola, and he's going to start getting shoved back. Yeah, no, that's a real phrase. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean always the connotations it has. Unharassed, I would say, is probably a more common term.
The painted picture of Gragas Jax in the top lane being unmolested was pretty good.
A little too much to handle? Okay.
Probably at 5 o'clock in the morning.
We're getting deja vu, and speaking of molesting, here's what's happening to FCCF right now. Big damage going down. Insect trying to finish the job up, and he will. Gets ignited for all his trouble, but Clearlove, meanwhile, turns on the heat, and Zero goes down. Flash is going left and right. Clearlove looking for this chase now. Insect, can he get out through the jungle? I don't know if he can, being chased down by everyone on Edward Gaming. They clearly want this revenge, and they will get it. Cataclysm being spent, and Clearlove will mop that kill up 3-3, and the gold lead is down to 100. That is a very, very small lead right now.
But exactly as we said, Insect made the focus. He returned bottom. They focused the Sona, knowing that the flash wasn't there. Picked up the free kill. Unfortunately, paid for it for his life. But they've put their eggs in Uzi right now. Although he didn't really get anything off that kill, did he? Didn't even get an assist. Huh.
Yeah, he wasn't able to chase down quite as fast, I think.
Well,
but
there's the bright spot that
still
Uzi didn't get to participate in that kill. So technically, the lane is still as perilous as it was previously. That said, still Kog'Maw.
Yeah, not to mention, Name been able to outfarm despite all of this constant pressure in that bot side. This is pretty nice for EDG because they just have so many weapons that Starhorn Royal Club cannot focus on every one of them.
That's very true. By focusing bottom and trying to get the Snowball and Lucian, obviously you need the Snowball Lucian if he's going to compete with Name's Kog'Maw late game. Koro, though, left untouched, but like we said, Koro isn't really known as a hard, hyper-carry top laner. Does he have it in his arsenal? He's a very skilled player, but we'll see if he's able to kind of put the team on the back with them focusing so much attention to Name.
Yep, and now Insect gonna double up to give this blue buff over to Corrin so his farming will be even more lucrative. Meanwhile, bot lane getting pinged out again, and it looks like Unstoppable looking for a roam here. Now he's gonna try to turn over to the blue. So far, you're right. You called this a little bit earlier. Insect definitely been making the better jungle presence while Clearlove was doing... Or, sorry, excuse me. Insect making the better lane presence while Clearlove was doing a better job with the jungling. But that didn't seem to affect Insect really whatsoever, as he likes to make these huge plays early on, and he looks to be going again. But Clearlove has been adjusting to that really quickly, so you now see him hanging out down on the spot side. We could see a 3v3 here.
But we do see Insect as well. And I feel like, again, Insect is making the correct read. But Clearlove kind of returning back to his old form, staying in his jungle, really farming it out, hasn't been on the counter gank effectively for these Insect roams, and Koro.
Yeah, Kola and Koro,
it
they really are. And it's a good thing his name is Kola, because if you've been drinking that much, you've got to be able to walk it out after that, and he will be able to get away. So Koro going to get some free farm at the end of the day. Still the ticking time bomb, but, you know, so far so good for Kola in that top lane. He's been holding out.
Doing a good job staying up with CS, though. 115 to 113. The wave was pushed over in Jack's favor, so pretty much even across the board. Not that you want to, again, it's kind of one of those lanes like you don't want to go even in CS against the Jacks.
He's going to stealth in and dish some damage. Ew, he goes right into the stun. Will get a big slash away, but Unstoppable's here now. And now Kola is going to be duking it out with the rest of the team. He gets in, hey guys, I'm here. A little bit late. They want to disengage it now. So a lot of rotations from EDG that haven't really turned into much, but they also haven't lost too much because it just hasn't been... I think they're going so quickly that Starhorn just hasn't really had a chance to realize what's happening a lot of the times.
I feel like their rotations have been really only in the last 2 minutes. Ooh,
oh, Nami. Wow. Nami getting caught really, really far now. Uzi trying to go on in this big chase is going down as Corrin is going to come in, but it is actually Kola that gets the kill, throws an explosive cask out as he teleported in, and they're chasing onto FCZF. Should be able to lock him up, and that's Corrin picking himself up a kill. 5-3 now lead, and a slight 1,000 gold lead. Could get a little bit bigger right now as this turret is going to fall. Uzi and Zero putting a hurt on it.
That was a great bubble from Zero, but I'm going to say the star of that was Kola's teleport and the recognition and communication between Starhorn Royal Club to read. Teleports up, we can make the dive here. They should transition this into Dragon. I'm really unsure why they continuously are like, okay, we're going to pick up, 2 kills here and we're going to take the tower, but we're not going to take the other global objective on the map with a numbers advantage.
Yeah, that was a little bit odd, and actually Uzi came within just a second of being jumped on by Clearlove, but they really could have snowballed this a lot farther. Sticking around and taking the dragon would have been a smart move, as there was no way to defend the top tower once Kola had teleported in. They did manage to get this kill here, as you see in the replay. Corrin coming around the side, Nami realizing, oh, I got to get out of there, and the flash ult from Kola, a bit excessive, but managed to mop it up, and then they managed to take down FCZF. But then they did nothing with it. They got the tower, that's great, but it was a pretty foregone conclusion at that point, and then they let Koro answer with the tower of his own. So, a bit misplayed, I think, by Starhorn.
Rewatching that, though, I feel like the biggest mishap was FCZF's positioning. He could have blocked the culling, didn't try at all, ended up dying anyway, so it's not like he didn't sacrifice his position, because, I mean, he died to Orianna when Corrin came down for the roam. It's not like moving would have saved his life, or anything
Yeah,
like that.
it was a
I
little
feel
bit
like
odd.
he looks really uncomfortable on Sonic. He had a good crescendo that time, but didn't pan out. But meanwhile, Starhorn World Club now pulling out the dragon this time.
And they're pulling out Unstoppable. Big damage onto him. Half health, forcing out the ultimate. Now Insect trying to dive deep, realizing he's too far forward. He'll go down to an Ignite, though, as he gets turned around. And Unstoppable, well, he really is unstoppable so far. That was a nice turnaround kill, but they still got the dragon. I think Starhorn's pretty happy with that one.
But they're technically still down in gold. Oh wait, nope, that's a stream glitch. It's 27.2.
No, they managed to get themselves a slightly...
Yeah, they're ahead by
letting
1K.
Jack split push them out. He takes another turret, completely uncontested, while Cola was down there with the rest of the team. They cannot let this keep happening. Jax will split push you all the way to your Nexus turrets if you let him. Well, Cola says, I want my golems. You are not taking those. You might take the towers all day. But they've really got to be able to address this, and they just haven't. They've been focusing so heavily on the 5v4 that they just are completely forgetting about this hyper carry in the top lane.
Cole is actually rushing Eternity. He's not doing the traditional Bork rush that we've seen Jaxus do, especially the past game.
Yeah, he kind of stopped halfway through with his...
And it's really weird. Like, typically you would do Eternity rush because you're going to be utilizing the burst from Sheen against a non-tanky opponent, like someone squishy, like a Teemo or something, just because you're going to jump on them, your Sheen's going to proc, and that's like half their health. With someone like Gragas, who's traditionally more tanky, has a lot more health, you would go Bork so you could effectively duel them.
Not to mention with the Frozen Heart, too.
Like,
It is a bit odd.
I'm pretty sure that he'll still be able to duel, but it'll be really scary if Insect shows up. Like, he definitely won't be able to 2v1 now. If the extra resources come to help him out, he's definitely in trouble there, but it's kind of a weird build path.
That cheeky smite war that was going on. Insect's got a ball on him, and they're seeing if they can take an engage here, but EDG giving no inches, not even a millimeter, over to Starhorn as they contest every single objective that is going on right now. Now they're already pinging for the red buff. All right, guys, blue's down. Let's do the drill. Insect just taking a few race for the time being, but they'll look to try and take a fight here. You doing a good job at baiting out these fights, and he has been so instrumental in setting up these good picks.
Oh, well, he's definitely almost been participating in 100% of their kills. 3 out of their 4 kills have been with this Lulu. I feel like they're not getting him where he needs to be, though. I feel like, yeah, they want to stall out the game now because Kog'Maw has to farm up, but use Power Spike. Lulu's very strong right now as we kind of come into like the early mid game, and they need to get her involved, especially with Jax. And that red buff would have been like the perfect time to do it, but they just didn't get in position quickly enough, and now they kind of lose that next rotation of buff cycles to really do anything but just passively farm. Which, I mean, it's still okay because it's Jax Kog'Maw that you want to passively farm, but I feel like their Lulu strength is kind of ticking down, and they could have made a few more aggressive plays. And this is kind of the EDG of old, where I felt like they were really steering away from it. They were getting more, progressive in their games.
Instead of trying to stall them out.
Exactly, instead of just playing really reactive and letting... Because Starhorn Royal Club, to be frankly honest, they're completely setting the pace of this game.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird to see that kind of throwback now. And speaking of throwback, well, the Baron is up and everyone's pinging for it. I know it's not really going to start right now, but they're definitely going to try to run over this objective while there's no dragon up. The outer turrets seem a little bit untouchable for EDG. There is a really easy one on that bot side, but no one seems to want to go near it because it's so far away from this Baron, and everyone is just desperately afraid of a crazy rush.
And to be fair, Starhorn Royal Club and EDG have had really early Barons so far in this split, so that is definitely not something that you can leave alone. However, there are no Borks on the field right now, which again, Jax rushing the Trinity, you lose the Bork, which you lose a lot of your Baron presence and a lot of speed there.
Yeah, and speaking of left alone, Cola was able to freely take that top tower and turn it on around a little bit. However, this opens up a bit more free farm lane for Koro should he want to take that, just to continue the pressure on that top side. It is kind of strange to see these builds go a little bit slow and such a reactive, low kill pace to the game. I think Starhorn definitely likes this because they have decent scaling into the mid game, which is really just taking off now, whereas EDG really wants to stall this out to the late game just because they have such potential weapons later on, regardless of if they get kills or not. So they're happy to let this one sit. However, the only real threat that they have right now is Koro pushing this lane anywhere he pleases, and they've really just shifted the top to the bot as he tries to avoid barrels and duke it out a little bit with Cola. I don't really know where this one is going. What do you think about this, Frosk?
They're really just going to keep switching Koro to the side lanes and try to utilize the split push map pressure. Get him farmed up, get his items out there. Again, Jax is an item-dependent champion. He's going to be Jax no matter what. I know I keep saying that. It's like, you guys, if you don't do something about Jax, he's just going to get there faster, and nothing's really being done about him. Surprise, I'm back.
Yep, and that's a hockey stick to the face, and it hurts.
Like you said, Starhorn Royal Club's
dived.
power spike is right now. They need to be making plays. They need to look for a team fight because they are so
strong. I think they heard
strong.
you. There was a Nami ult, but Lulu will just ride the wave and nothing will happen. Nami continues to farm. Clearlove, he's hanging out too. He's giving him a little bit of buddy system here. Now, there are a good number of members of Starhorn Royal Club right here, but they don't want to take a fight right now. They're okay with just turning it around. Now, Clearlove wants to, though. He's going to jump in 2-0, and the rest of them, Uzi going to dish some damage up, but he gets the shield anyways. And they're trying to take a fight here and see if they can swing the game in their favor. Koro's going to take a tower. Actually, no, he's not. He's going to be dueling it out with Cola. And there he finally gets it down, and it's going to be credited to a minion. But Dragon's up in 13. So now that they're done with the shenanigans, everybody on EDG is pinging for this Dragon. They should be able to rush it down, and this would be their first Dragon of the game.
That was a really clumsy B from Starhorn Royal Club to send so many members back of the base right on the spawning of the Dragon. They had the timer, so I'm unsure what the communication was, but this should be burned down relatively quickly and be an uncontested free objective for EDG.
Yeah, it's almost like they kind of just threw him that one, and they're trying to answer, to their credit, on this bot side, or on this mid side, excuse me, as the bot, Koro and Cola keep trading, but they don't have enough damage. Not really the fastest wave either to push this out. And now Cola's caught up by Koro. It's just going to be a scary dueling situation. They have to send more than just Cola to deal with it.
And we talked about this, how even though he went the Trinity Rush, and I still think that Bork would have been better in this instance, he's still able to out-duel Gragas. It's just how Jax works. Starting to build up a sizable CS lead, though, so that's pretty scary.
There's the jump in. FCZF, he's going to try to get this flash ult off. He's going to land it onto Korn. A big ball is going down. Clearlove is going to be jumping in for the kill. That is Korn going down very quickly, but they answer right on back. Clearlove getting taken out by Insec, and he's on the hunt, looking for Name. Jumps on the bug, who flashes away. He will take him down, though, at the end of the day. It is a 2-for-1 trade so far. 2-for-2 trade, excuse me. Zero goes down in that. They managed to pick off Cola round the side. FCZF chasing out, but Uzi is there as well, pushing a lot more damage onto it, but now Koro chasing him out. He's isolated, got nowhere to go. Down he goes. Now Insect looking for the chase onto FCZF. He jumps away, gets his resets out of tower range. You and Koro, though, still on the chase, and it is everybody is dead except these three still left in this one. Insect, can he stay alive, or will it be an ace? It will. Koro gets him on a leap strike, and that's the clean ace there. Not a clean, I keep saying that, but that was actually very dirty.
I don't even think Koro teleported into that. I think he walked, actually. I don't know if the teleport was available, so that fight, again, Lulu, her ability to stall out fights with her superficial tankiness on that Wild Growth ultimate to allow Jax to get there, get involved in that fight. Can we talk about how Name got pushed around like a ping pong ball, though? Fantastic Gragas cast to force him into the middle of the enemy team. I think he actually was walking around for a little bit, and then he stood still and just resigned himself to a quick death. Yeah,
well, that's the problem with an immobile AD carry. When you realize you've got nowhere to go, it's like, okay, well, I can just dish out as much damage as I can, and we'll see it in an instant replay. Here we go. FCZF going very far forward. Clearlove getting the jump down. They're gonna burst Korn as soon as FCZF gets his ult off. Korn manages a ball, but it only lands on Clearlove and on the edge FCZF. Uzi dishes the damage right back on around. The teleport comes in, and Cola instantly turns on Name. He gets the ult back, and he's got nowhere to go. He flashes desperately, and Insect's just like, yeah, you're not going to get away from that one. He's going to get taken down by Uzi, actually. So then Cola getting chased out, gets ignited. Koro says, all right, I've got the damage. I've got the sustain. It's a 3v2. We can take this. They think about going for Insect, but they realize Uzi is a more important target. Jump onto him. There's a flash from FCZF. He almost stays alive in that one, but Insect gets out for the time being, and then Koro, well, you see the rest.
Fortunately, though, this doesn't really transition into anything. It's not like EDG got a major objective off of that. Yeah, it's a nice little power spike. It swings the gold back into their favor by 3k just off of the kill goals alone, but there wasn't anything important in play there. It's not like it transitioned into a Baron, into a tower, into a Dragon even.
No, but it was pretty sweet to watch.
The chase down.
Yeah, so that's those chaotic fights that even though somebody takes a bit more of a conclusive victory in that, all it really indicates is which team is a little bit stronger in the straight-up even fight situation. But yeah, it didn't really turn into anything for them. But they will just go back to doing what they were doing before with a slight bit more gold in their pocket. The gold lead is pretty close, and, well, they're looking to make it more. There's the stealth out. Clearlove will get juked, and it looks like it's going to be Insect getting away. Oh, wow, he wants to turn on this, though. No, he's going to back in the bush. Okay. They're going to ping for UZI, but still, the chase is going on. Now, Koro, once again, continuing to duel with Cola, and actually, fantastic job by the top laner on Starhorn to really use this tower aggro to his advantage and force the waves to be low. This is the one saving grace, is that he cannot duel the Jacks, but he can still push the barrels into the minion waves and keep him from really doing anything without tower aggro.
I feel like Gragas has really solidified itself as a top-tier pick in the current meta.
Definitely seems to be favored here in China.
The CC wave clear alone, just the amount of versatility that a Gragas offers a team is fantastic. You're right, Cola cannot 1v1 Koro, but he's able to hold him off due to Gragas' tankiness, that he's very hard to gank. He has great mobility, so he's very hard to chase down. And then he has fantastic wave clear, so it's very hard to just walk up to a tower and attrition it down.
Yeah, they've been able to hold off this split push quite well, actually, and that's pretty impressive in and of itself, considering they're really only using Cola for that and then both teleporting in. But as the game shifts a little bit to the later phase, we've got 28 minutes in now. Dragon's up in another minute and a half. Once that gets cleared down, all eyes are going to be on the Baron pit. It's 4 towers to 2. If it goes in Starhorn's favor, we'll start seeing those towers swing pretty fast, but do you think they'll just take a straight-up 5v5 fight, or will one team try to rush this one down, as we've seen, you know, the classic China strategy?
We've talked about how this is kind of EDG returning to their previous form, which is unfortunate because I feel like we just gave them so much praise that they're evolving, they're firing on all cylinders, they look really good, and then they just completely revert back to what they used to do, which is stall the game out, wait for a Baron throw, have a team fight. And I feel like that's exactly what they're doing, which obviously it works to their comp. They have the Typer carries, Jax and Kog'Maw. Ooh, this is a little interesting, though. A little bit of a Fnatic bush play.
Yeah, wow, Clearlove actually dodges out of the bubble, and Zero lands on nobody. So they still want to take this fight, but it's a nice disengage from Starhorn as they try to zone it away, and it's just going to be a poke war for the time being, especially with Name on that outside. The living artillery should be able to do it. They cannot clump up here, but Starhorn looking to try and take a safer engage if they can. Well, they've got the ball delivery system. Let's see if Korn tosses it onto Insect. The ult is up right now. If they want to take this, they should be able to, but they have to watch the FCZF ult as well. It's going to be all about the positioning. Bubble's going to land onto Name. Nothing doing. Unstoppable looking for the chase. He doesn't really get much on it, though.
He's just so safe with the amount of AP that he has on his Whimsy that he can be that far forward. Needs to respect the cask a little bit, but I have a feeling that he could outmaneuver it.
Oh, this is nice. They're letting Koro start up the Dragon for free here. They're backing, and Starhorn Royal Club finding themselves in, once again, an inconvenient back situation. Koro and Name just duo that one up. No smite required, and they lose absolutely nothing for it. So once again, the later the game goes, the better the Gold League gets. This is getting very, very scary for Starhorn World Club to deal with. It's just going to be that slow attrition war and eventually result in a team fight they can't take, it seems.
The fact that so many of these objectives are being taken without vision from Starhorn World Club, their vision was decent early game, but I feel like it's completely fallen wayside now. I'm not sure what's up. The fact that Zero's been so stuck with his team, it's like dangerous to go off on your own. But they need to start getting these surrounding rivers warded so objectives like that stop missing.
Yeah, this is kind of a sloppy map game right now for Starhorn. They started off so good in this. They were able to out-rotate. They were doing a little bit better with their ganks. They had Insect just making huge plays, and now they just seem a little lost. I think they're afraid to take these fights just because Koro is in this later game stage where it gets really scary. And by the way, I'm going to point something out here. He's not just got a Blade of the Rune King. He's got another Cutlass on top of it. That's a lot of sustain.
He's going for a Gunblade, which I find very strange. I think Gunblade is a really expensive item for the stats that it gives, and it's not effective
More of an
at all.
assassin item.
It's
Yeah, very odd.
I'm not a fan. I'm really curious if he's gonna finish it.
That's that next level meta right there. We'll see. We'll see what he goes with. But it's just sometimes you get into these comfort picks in the champions, and you do something that is you've tried maybe in solo queue, that you've played in some games and it's worked out really well. It's definitely a big gamble, though, and I'm not sure how it'll pan out, but nonetheless, Koro is still that ticking time bomb, and Starhorn World Club needs to start taking good trades in order for them to stay relevant into this later game. Kola now, he's not going to use his teleport. He's actually just going to try and run to the fight, but he's going to get intercepted by Koro. Are they going to duke it out, though? It's like a couple of scattered engages right now, just a bunch of poke wars and wards being cleared left and right. Not that many wards this game, actually. This is very much classic in that sense.
I'm really concerned, though, that Starhorn World Club isn't forcing engagements. Like, their composition is strong right now, and they're literally just they're letting Jax free farm. He's starting to get, what, 50 CS now on his lane opponent, just completely in the side lane doing whatever he wants, getting as big as he wants. And again, we talk about kind of like the ticking time bomb of use the eye strength. It's right now. He has his Trinity, he has his BT, he has his Last Whisper. I'm going to say BT, Trinity are the core items on Lucian right now, and they're just not utilizing that power.
Yeah, and Koro definitely utilizing his power as he jumps all onto Kola, realizing he's in a 2v1 situation. Might try to make something of. He's going to flash away, and the ball is not going to connect. Nice sleep strike, but they will manage to finish him off anyways. Tried to juke, couldn't quite finish it up. Now Clear11 trying to answer this with you on the outside. Kola and Korn going to be taken very low. The Nami is going to send her wave out, and I don't know if this is going to be quite enough. Uzi going to get locked up by FCZF. Now Kola's taken low. They're fighting out, but Nami might have the advantage in this one. And Insect coming in for the assassination. Can't really do much. There's no follow-up damage, and I don't know how this one's going, but somehow Edward Gaming is getting forced back. Zero is going to flash in. They're so low on Edward Gaming right now, and this could turn on a dime even though it's a 3v4. Name still kiting away, and they're not done yet. Unstoppable coming in. The sustain is proving itself, but FCZF has no way to get back into this. He has got the tiniest bits of health, and they will disengage. Man, that could have been big.
I feel like Edward Gaming just proved right there that they are the better team fighting team. In one fell swoop. When Insect came in to start to get the assassinations and the resets on his E, immediately you saw EDG clump up and cover their flanks so he couldn't find the isolation here. They then utilized Name's ability with his Kog'Maw range and that red buff to effectively force out Starhorn and do a disengagement on their own. And it just really pans back to that EDG is the best team fighting team in China. They just showed it right there. They get caught sometimes in a numbers disadvantage, but that was a fantastic collapse and a good disengage from them.
Yeah, that was insane how low they managed to keep the kills in that one, and it all stemmed from Koro just being caught out and sandwiched between Korn and Kola. And well, Korn and Kola you'd think would work pretty well together, right?
Did he sell his cutlass?
Yeah, I think that might have been a mistake buy.
He sold his cutlass and he straight up bought a Banshee Veil.
Oh, Koro, we love you. We'll just move on because Baron is being looked at with very big eyes right now by both teams. They really want to try and contest this next all-important objective. Dragon's still about a minute and a half away, but with the Baron buff, if Edward Gaming manages to secure this one, and it looks like they're going to try and start it up. They're pinging for it right now, and here it goes. It's been aggroed, but they're not entirely sure they want to take it. Nope, they're disengaging away. They're going to be doing the bait. Let's see, it's still a 4v5 as Jax is not in there. Now they're just going to start it up. There is a big speed up, and they're going to find Insect, but he'll jump away from that one. Safe disengage from Starhorn World Club, and I think that's just a bit of impatience on the side of Edward Gaming.
And not controlling the vision. I mean, it's obvious what their intentions are, and they're not utilizing the strength of Koro. They need to wait.
They're really just stalling this out now that he is getting a split push on, but they might lose a mid tower for this. Now, it's a better trade for them as they're able to take down maybe an inhibitor turret, and this is still pretty big, but they're getting Kola back already. They're trying to chase this now out 4v4, but I don't think they really have the gap closed to take this out. Both teams have way too safe compositions for this to really happen, and I think on both sides they're afraid to take straight engages.
They're waiting for Koro to make a play here, and I feel like Insect is reading this, and he's saying, just force mid, just force mid. But look at the lack of communication. Insect's in mid, and Starhorn Royal Club is on the back of the Baron pit. Baron's going down
they might
really
get this.
quickly.
Oh, it nearly gets stolen, but Insect not going to be able to get there in time. He will get taken down. Both the Baron and the Bug get taken down by Clearlove.
Complete chaos from Starhorn World Club. Their miscommunication, not synced up, don't know what they're doing, aren't making a correct call. Insects in the mid lane. They allowed Koro to push as far as he wanted down that bot lane. They gave over the free uncontested Baron. Like,
here's the late game snowball. This is 36 minutes in, and they're just turning up the gas. They went from 1 to 3 to 9.5, and here they go. Inhibitor's gonna fall. They have no answer to this one, and yeah, just clearly making that one mistake after just way too much hesitation in that mid-game, completely missing out on all the power that they had there. Starhorn World Club gives up way too much. Kills, Baron, inhibitors, and now EDG in the driver's seat.
with this Baron, they get to pretty much take everything that they want. That inhibitor down opens up the map in all angles. They should now just look bottom and take that one as well. I'm frustrated because I wanted EDG and Starhorn World Cup. Like, this game looks so promising in the early start to have a different type of meta on it. And I feel like the teams just kind of reverted back to what they do. EDG played the game that they knew how to play, and Starhorn World Club, if it's a lack of communication, disorganization, lack of shot calling, they couldn't get the team fights that they wanted early enough, and now they're going to simply lose out to being out-comped and outscaled, which is unfortunate because I feel like they came out really strong in the early game, but just didn't know what to do outside of laning phase. Obviously,
Yeah,
still time to play. But, I mean, 10k gold advantage to EDG, 37 minutes, 12-9, 7-3 towers.
Yeah, it's a pretty difficult lead to overcome, especially when you see the late game scaling on the side of Edward Gaming. They're just afraid to take fights, and doubly so after this. Starhorn World Club really had a chance to push this game in their favor, but completely failed to take advantage of that. They gave up dragons that were completely unnecessary. They didn't rotate very well. It almost seems like they're just following around Insec and waiting for him to make plays and jump on that. And there's just no need for that when they can pressure the map in that mid game. At this point, they've lost all control of this game, and they pretty much have to turtle for the next 5 or 6 minutes.
They don't really have the, I mean, I guess they have the anti-siege, they have Orianna Gragas, but if a dive comes through, actually, it's actually really sketch to dive Orianna. No, I take it back. They can definitely turtle this. But they
this
can't.
This is not in the bag yet, no.
They can't do the split push. Like, they can't answer the 4-1 split if Koro decides to go up to the top lane and the rest of EDG pushes down in the bottom lane.
Or the reverse of that.
Well, yeah, they'd have to abandon so many resources to stop this Jax at the point that EDG could then look at a dive with a numbers advantage.
Yeah, it's pretty much balls in their court to try and make these big plays, and even if they make a couple of mistakes, the turret lead is going to keep them safe for a little bit as an insurance policy. The game is going to get later and later, but they don't have too much to give up by trying to go for kills in here. They've shoved Starhorn back into their base so far, and they're just afraid to even leave it. So here is going to be just the poke out, and eventually this inhibitor tower should fall.
A war of attrition, the range of Name. Look at how
they're not answering Jax. Koro is taking this for free in the mid. They have no reaction to this. And I can't believe it. He just takes that one out for free, running around in the base, and they're just like chickens with their heads cut off. Look at that. Kola dropping an ult, Zero dropping his wave, and it lands on nearly no one here. They're just looking so sloppy, and this game is probably going to end within the next 10 minutes, just a slow march into the base. Koro now being turned on, and Insec trying to make something happen desperately, but he's been abandoned by the rest of his team. Koro duking it out with him, and he's chasing him on forward. The leap strike forcing the flash away. Zero's trying to sustain up, but now the inhibitor is open on this bot side, and it's surely going to fall. Clear Love gets down to half health, but they managed to take that one down. Map is so open right now for Edward Gaming, and a huge gold lead, and towers, and inhibitors. They've got everything going for them.
They've also have the composition to end this. Have to be a little bit careful because you have to respect the anti-siege coming out of Starhorn World Club. They have the Orianna blue buff right there, is effectively like a Ziggs can stall up the game. That said,
only if they use it though.
I feel like at this point they're just stalling to try to figure out what to do for the next split.
Yeah, I think the game number 2 is going to see a very, very different strategy out of both these teams. This was definitely a feel your opponent out kind of thing, but heat's on for Starhorn. They have not been able to do very well against teams that are considered strong this split. And if they end up going 0-2 this game, not only does that knock them quite down in the standings and Edward Gaming up to 2nd place, but it kind of seals the deal on the whole overhyped thing that people have been talking about.
Well, definitely everyone, came out and said that Starhorn World Club looks incredibly strong right now. They have the original Korean roster coming in right now, shaking things up in the LPL. And again, Insec hasn't really been, I haven't been impressed with his performance so far. 3-4-2, so definitely has been doing the most for his team, but he's not being that strong hard carry, and they're not finding these hard engagements. I don't know if this is, again, like a lack of shot calling, but they have every tool in their composition to start a team fight. They have essentially a submarine comp. They could send Insec in with a shockwave, but they're not finding the communication or the synergy.
Yeah, they're just afraid to take something here, and this is unfortunately just going to continue to result in inhibitors and maybe not kills, but they just can shove them down continuously. The Orianna ball trying to zone people away. Corrin's trying to find a combo that they can go in on, but there's so much split pressure here. They have Korra wailing away on inhibitors completely for free now. He's been taking these down all day. Baron is going to come up in another minute and a half. Dragon the same. They could continue to extend this gold lead if they really want to, but they're just happy to keep poking away, and there's nothing Starhorn can do about this. Insect nearly gets poked to death, has to jump away. There's super minions wailing on the Nexus turrets. They have to turn and answer this, but now they're going to get another Nexus inhibitor turret taken down, and they've still got minions shoving on every which way, and EDG, there is almost no way they can lose this.
I've seen worse throws here. The Baron is going to spawn in another minute. I'm curious
Speaking
to
of
see
throws.
if EDG is going to back up and just wait for the Baron, wait for that final power spike, and just be very cautious about this, or if they're going to try something big here. I mean, I believe it was actually OMG versus IG, and there was an exact same similar situation like this. Pushing on a base, team gets ace, the death timers are so long at 42 minutes that the enemy team just walks in and pushes down through every tower. Obviously, there's a lot of towers to go through, and Starhorn World Club would have to ace repeatedly, but
Yeah, I mean turnarounds could be had, but they have to take just the perfect engage after the perfect engage, grab a Baron buff, go back, defend their base, completely shove everything out. I mean, it's just such a huge obstacle for them right now, and they're not playing like they want to win this one. They're just stalling for time, just trying to delay the inevitable and waiting on that second game of the split. So here we go. Here's the big engage as they try to jump in on Koro's going to go in, gets a couple of ultimates for his trouble, gets bubbled up, but he's sustaining through it all. The tower is going to fall, and now they can take this one if they want to, all the way to the Nexus. Kola trying to zone away too. Actually going to get a good lockup now. He's in the middle of it all. There's going to be a Sona ult turning around there. FCZF doing a fantastic job. Now Kola is going to go down. Clearlove takes a big drink of him, and they're sustaining up with the Summoner heal. Name chasing forward. They don't even care that he's the ADC. He can go forward on everybody, picking himself up a couple of kills. He manages to take down Zero, and this is going to be the end of game number 1. A 43-minute slow march to victory ends in favor of Edward Gaming.
I feel like this game was over 10 minutes ago, though. Can we talk about how quick that Kog'Maw was when the Whimsy got dropped on him? That wasn't a Kog'Maw, that was a race car.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an immobile AD carry, quote-unquote, move that fast before.
With this, though, you have to think, what is Royal Club looking for in their next split? Effectively, I feel like they got the champions. Again, it goes back to the weak pick and ban phase. I feel like they got the champions that they wanted. I mean, obviously, you don't want to give away something like Jax, which was a huge problem for them, but you had Lucian. Uzi likes that champion. You had the Gragas top, has seen a huge spike in popularity. The Orianna mid, Korn has shown that he has proficiency on that champion. Also, the Yasuo was banned out, but it's not like they got weak picks.
No, I mean, they definitely had a pretty solid comp for what they wanted to do, but it seems like they lost sight of that. As soon as the mid-game hit, they were uncertain of themselves. They had lost a couple of really close engages, but they still were controlling dragons. They had a decent tower push strategy going, and then they decided to just back off. And over and over and over again, they just let the timer tick away, and then all of a sudden, Koro shows up with Blade the Rune King, Triforce, split pushing your bot lane while you have to pull Gragas away, and then they're turning it around in a big fight, and it just became an absolute nightmare. So EDG, pretty happy with that one, although they definitely went for a throwback set of strategies waiting out the late game. I think they might go back to this newer style they've been known for in this next game, now that they feel like they were able to secure a kill, or secure a win onto the Starhorn World Club team that I think they overestimated, frankly.
Historically, back-to-back, the second games for EDG are much shorter than the first game, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a very clean sweep coming out now. Unless Starhorn Royal Club, they looked really good in the beginning of that game, and it's just about an issue of returning to that and then capitalizing on it in mid and late game. I feel like this was literally a shot calling issue. It was not being on the same page, but otherwise, like mechanically speaking, strategically early, they looked like they had that game.
Yeah, it really was clear when the turnaround did start to happen, and it wasn't really due to any fight or any objectives secured individually, just like a shift in mentality. So we'll see if Starhorn World Club can recover from that one and keep the standings a little bit more intact, or will the balance of power shift over in favor of Edward Gaming. When we come back, guys, we'll be taking a quick break, going on cooldown as it were, but when we return, game number 2 of Edward Gaming versus Starhorn World Club. Don't touch that browser, we'll be right back.